Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Junkyard Digs, and welcome to another episode on our 68 Bonneville. If you guys missed the last video, this is a one-owner barn find car that sat in a shed since 1975, 48 years, and we are on the quest to put it back on the road. Last time we got it running, we got it to drive around the block using its original brakes and everything. This time, we're going to dig into it further, get it running better, give it new brakes, clean the interior, take that damn bug deflector off, and try our best to put this on the road for good. Let's get to work. So as you can see, we've already started digging straight into today's episode. This is my... Caleb, what are you? You're not my cousin.
You're my second cousin.
Okay, this is my second cousin, Caleb. This is my cousin Ben's son. He's helping me here in the shop today. If you guys remember, this thing ran like crap. We definitely had a dead cylinder. I leaned into it and it just fell apart, fell on its face, started spitting and popping. I gotta wonder if we've got some valve issues. If you missed episode 1, this car dropped a lifter. That's why it was parked. It blew a lifter up, so we replaced that, put it all back together. The Pontiacs were known to be really good motors, with their Achilles heel being the valve train. So, especially sitting that long, I bet these valve seats are quite unhappy. First thing we're going to do today is pop those plugs back out, throw a compression tester in there, and do a compression test to see if we do have some valve issues. And that is what Caleb is doing right now. So with that being said, I guess I'll go grab a beer and maybe the compression tester. Well, let me know when you're done.
All right.
So as it stands, I'm still not entirely sure the next step or like the extent of work that needs to be done to this car. This compression test should tell us a lot. There's a chance that I'm pulling these heads off, sending them off to be redone. There's a chance we just yank the whole driveline out, clean up everything really well. The transmission fluid did not look great, so that could probably be redone. We could go as far as lifting the entire body off the frame, having the whole chassis sandblasted and powder coated, throwing it all back together, cleaning the interior, buffing the exterior, cleaning up the engine bay, having everything redone, and have essentially a restored car. And we could potentially do that in like a couple months' time, because this thing is such a good starting point that it doesn't need much. Like the underside needs pressure washed and sealed with like black paint. That's it. But I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I'm wanting to go, so we're going to start with this compression test, which will tell me, hey, yeah, motor's coming out, or hey, heads are coming off. Or it will tell me, hey, you just had a big vacuum leak, or an ignition issue, or your carburetor sucks. There's actually nothing wrong internally, and we could have a running car without doing any of that. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
Got my pliers holding the throttle open. You gotta open your throttle when you're doing a compression test, or else it'll be a few PSI off, like 10. It ain't great. That didn't even seem like a valve issue, really. Huh. Okay, let's move to number 3. Alright, number 3. That's a very healthy cylinder. 165. That's all of 170. Alright, we'll take that. Cylinder number 5. Even happier. Number 7. $1.50. Albeit all over the board, these last 3 were definitely high enough to run healthy. That one, however, number 2, is very sad. I did just remember that number 2 over there was the one that had the rust on the plug, so it might just be a sad rings. Go ahead, sir. $175 for number 1. Go ahead. $170 for number 4. Number 6. $175 for number 6. This side looking much healthier. And number 8. $145. I want to say that that's probably 2 was our rusty cylinder, though, so it's probably rings. There's a chance when we run this long enough, it actually clears out and starts making compression again. I don't know. That's right on the fence. I don't know. Let's put the plugs back in it. Maybe it runs better today. Caleb's throwing our spark plugs back in. It's time for this bug deflector to go. I think I found the smell up front. Holy shit. It's just mouse nest. Oh my god. Alright, well, I'll get the vacuum. Ooh. I think that was a rat. See where it was. Come on, away with you. There we go. Let yourself. My dad especially will be happy now. I'm sure he's been screaming at the TV screen the entire time, take that damn bug deflector off. Oh yeah, much better. $1,000 for sale on junkyarddigs.com. You can go check out our awesome merch. Oh yeah, $1,000. Let me know. Oh yeah, that looks way better. A few things we need to clean up now that we can see them better, but yeah, that looks a ton better. The next piece of aesthetic modification, I just got a text that the tires are done. Let's go get them. Perfect. We have ourselves some new rims and tires, and for once, I did not get 15s. These are Vision Legend Series rims. Summit Racing sent us these rims as well as a fuel tank for this car, so huge thank you to Summit Racing for jumping in on the Bonneville build. Really excited to have them on board for this one. This is going to be pretty dang cool. So let's get those old rims and tires off and get the new ones on and see how they look. All right, big question. Do they fit? How good is my math? Answer, not very good. Woohoo! Oh boy. I'm not going to lie, they're close, but they clear. Like there's a finger in there. That ain't bad. That looks pretty good. For those wondering, we got a 235, 65, 17 in the rear. And for our fronts, we're rolling a 225, 55, 17. That looks pretty good, especially if we shine the car up to match that gloss finish. They definitely fill out that wheel well way better up front. And don't forget, we've got the side skirts for the back. Hopefully they clear. They're gonna be close right here. Oh, hell yes. We just went from barn find turdmobile to high power custom cruiser. Look at that. While I finish putting these on, we're gonna travel through space and time with the camera and go back to a couple days ago actually and have Jesse clean our interior. Take it away, Jesse, from the past.
Okay, this is nice.
You're saying that prior? I'm excited to see what you have to say when you're done working your magic.
It's got all the amenities you need. A small bookshelf here. Is this supposed to be like a initial before they had crash pads? Is that what this is?
Nah, it's just to keep you from ruining the gauge cluster with your big dumb forehead during a crash.
I would think the wheel would do that. Wait, the wheel wouldn't do that. Okay, now I see
There's
what
a
it's
chance
for.
that would happen. But no, Jesse, this is implementing safety. This is the Pontiac energy absorbing wheel.
Well, let's test it.
I actually have to go edit part 1 of the Bonneville right now, so in the meantime, I'm going to turn you all over to Jesse, who's going to clean up the interior. I believe we have some sweet patina products to use, and of course, about 600 bottles of DJ.
I'll use all of them.
I'm handing you the audience now.
Oh, why hello, audience.
For the next 4 hours.
Oh, okay. First step is you're always going to want to pull everything out of the interior, such as whatever all that stuff is. No idea. I'll find out. Beyond that, I want to start looking at what our materials are. Like here, we also have a broken door handle, it looks like. That'll be something I need to watch out for, as we have a lot of sharp stuff. But looking at these materials, that's not wood. Good. We have vinyl. You can tell by the way it's tearing a little bit right here. It is not leather. Moving on to the seats, it once again looks like we have vinyl, just by the way that it's a very factory pressed look. That is not leather. Leather is much more porous, a little bit shinier, a lot smoother. On these cloth seats, these are actually in really, really good condition. Like this is the driver's seat, and there's not a tear, not a stress mark, just a bit of dust. Okay, there's a lot of dust. With that, we can come up to our dash, and looking over all of this, looks like the same sort of materials that we've already seen. Our headliner, I think I'm just going to use a dry cloth and just wipe off, maybe dampen it a little bit of water. You don't want it too wet. But overall, this is going to be a really good interior to just clean up, and it looks like it's all going to turn out well. Even these carpets are going to turn out great. They are still very deep. Let's go ahead and get started. Holy cow! Well,
They look pretty good.
yeah, I don't hate the skirts at all. You still get the center cap peeking out. They are really close, like quarter inch. So I think I can adjust these skirts to come a little further out with those tabs on the back. All right, well, we'll have to deal with that later. Let's see if this thing runs any better today and go for a little drive. So one more thing before we go for a drive. If you remember from part one, our transmission did not shift at all. And I'm suspect of this modulator. And if I can dig it out, good lord. Look at the size of these clumps of crap. Ridiculous. What in the world is even leaking to cause this? Yes, much as I suspected. Buried under all the crap. A broken vacuum line. Alright, well, let's get a new hose on there and see if it actually goes into gear now. Do not know why, but we're on like 4 cylinders. What in the hell is that? We just did a compression test, so we know we got compression. All the spark plugs look good. It is like 4 cylinders, maybe right now. Just that is very unique. Can't say I've seen that before out of a car that was just running. Working theory: I got a bunch of water into the jug for our fuel, which is this guy, and it's trying to run on water, so I need to flush that out. Try that, Caleb. What the hell? Ain't good for a second, I shut off. Go ahead. Try it again. Again. Okay. What in the world is going on? Runs good when it gets fuel. What's going on, Mr. Pontiac? Fuel pump die? Alright, got our fuel line plumbed to a Taco Bell cup. Go ahead, Caleb. Well, it looks terrible, but it's moving fuel. If you're ever moving fuel, but it's not going into the carb, it's going to be one of two things. One, your needle and seat have failed you. Or two, usually when they got this big casting right there, there's a filter in here. And looking at the quality of fuel coming out of that just now, I'm gonna guess that filter's seen better days. It's kinda hard to see, but there's some crap in there. Let's flush that out. So give this a little spritz. Back in you go. Never seen that actually get plugged and stop fuel flow before, but yeah, there's a first for everything, right? If I had to guess though, it's sad quadrajet woes. I mean, you know, when they sit for 48 years, they don't love it. Although if there's ever a carburetor to do it, it's gonna be a damn quadrajet that'll run just fine. Alright, let's see if she fills up now. What in the hell? Still not, huh? Try it again. Not getting fuel. Interesting. We've had a quadrajet fail us. I think it's time we either rebuild or replace this carburetor. Well, Caleb's taken our quadrajet off the car. I've gone over to the shelf of carburetors and found a suitable replacement. I'm gonna open them both up. We'll see if that one's got some obvious problem that I go, oh, and it's nice and clean and just fine inside. Whereas this one, I'm gonna have to open up regardless because unlike the quadrajets that are all mechanical, these Hollies have diaphragms in them. We'll have a diaphragm here for our secondaries. We have a diaphragm for our power valve on the front metering block, and we have a diaphragm for the accelerator pump here. Now, if you're keen, you just noticed this is not a normal Holly. This is a spreadboard, just like the carburetor that's already on that car. This is an old school Holly direct replacement for a quadrajet. It would have bolted straight up to the old fittings. It's on a side feed quadrajet, unlike this one, which is unfortunately front feed on this card, so we're gonna have to change stuff anyway. But these are an old school deal. If you ever come across one of these, grab them. They're worth a good bit of money on eBay, even as cores. I think I've somehow accrued like 4 of them. But you can tell them from the top because of this big, wide mouth with a really flat top edge. Like I said, I've had a couple of them for a while. I've always wanted to try one, so if we open that quadrajet up and it turns out to be a big nasty pile of poop, I'll pop this sucker apart, throw a new power valve, bowl gaskets, needle and seat if I got them. Just, you know, kind of clean her up and throw it on and see if it runs better. All right, moment of truth. And off she goes. Fresher reman carburetor. It's got a tag on the back that I can't show you right now. Okay. There's all of whatever that was. Now, I already see some rust and crap in here. The needle doesn't look stuck, that's for sure. Oh, nope, there's something stuck in there, alright. Oh yeah, it's completely full of crap. That would do it. Ew. Let's get that cleaned out and get this reassembled. I think this carburetor's still just fine. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day on the Bonneville. Last night, I got our carburetor reinstalled up front. Everything's happy up there. Today, we're diving into the fuel system, as you can hear. The tank, albeit really clean, it looks like it'd be just fine, is completely rusted out inside. It is full of crap. It is not gonna work. Like I said, I hopped on Summit Racing, got ourselves a new tank and level sender. It's actually an Impala tank for a 68 Impala. I think I can make it work. This is a 26.5 gallon tank, that's a 24. They're both rectangles. They both have the same, oh boy. They both have the same position for the filler neck, although I think the angle might be a little goofy. We'll have to see. Either way, there's only one way to find out, and that is to get this one out so we can get that one in. Let's do it. I can't find my pliers. Oh God, the world's falling apart. I'm naked. Oh God, maybe it's a 70-pound tank. It may have been full when it was parked. Holy shit. It's full too. Good, great. How is there still liquid? Make that a 100-pound tank. You. Yeah. Oh. Okay. That. The ground's off. Oh, it's all going down my shoe. There's so many rocks on top of it. Got it. I think I'm gonna go home. at the sacrifice of only the entire floor I just swept, the tank is out. It is literally half full of old fuel that has somehow turned into a solid. Meanwhile, up here, metal still looks really good. Those are just drain holes. Could use a little cleaning in here, so we'll do that. And probably seal all this with rust reversing paint before we're putting a new tank in, keep it all clean. Although this is like, that's still paint, so hell yeah. You can't really see it, and honestly neither can I, but I'm currently taking the fuel pump off, getting ready to put the new one on. While Mook over here does an oil change on her Cutlass.
Try not to spill.
She's doing a little maintenance on that back there, so I don't want to make a big mess cleaning and painting that area above the tank. So yeah, I'm just popping this fuel pump off quick. Actually, you know what? Quick, before I put that on, let's get a finger in here and feel that timing chain. That's not as bad as I was anticipating. I think this has been replaced before. Pontiacs, and actually Oldsmobiles, pretty much all the GMs of the time, ran a nylon coating on their timing chain so that it was quieter, and then nylon got hard and broke off and fell off, and then the timing chain would just flap around. That one does not feel like that nylon style timing chain. It's a little loose, but I mean, shit, I've seen stuff run forever with that amount of tension remaining. So regardless, I think someone's been in there and replaced that timing chain, especially at 111,000 miles. There's no way in hell that would have survived and still been that tight. Oh wow, hello. That was pretty good though. Pro tip, if you ever come across one of these big silver fire extinguishers, especially if it's free, grab it. What you can do is fill these up with soap and water and then hit them with some compressed air and boom, you've got a soap super soaker. This is just not my day. There, now she's all sudsy. Well, the floor is actually kind of cleaner. And the car is much, much cleaner underneath. Our whole tank area is looking really nice. I'm gonna hit this with some rust reformer once it's really dry, and then seal all that with some paint. But like, look at that, that looks incredible. While that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and replace our old fuel lines. You can see them sitting over there. I've got some 3/8 inch brake line from O'Reilly's. So I will go ahead and twist this all into place where it's supposed to be up under here. This is going to take me a little bit. It's going to be very tedious. I'm going to need both hands, so we will be back. You know, all this would go a lot faster if I cared less. However, they're going to last a lot longer because I do. Once again, I don't know if it'll be 2 years or 20 years before this car sees the attention it needs in a body shop, but with a couple hours of work and $50 in paint, I can assure whoever it is, be it me or someone else, when that time comes, they're going to be very thankful that they have all this metal left to work with, because someone at some point spent a little time to try to stop the rust. All right, all of our cleaning around the tank area is done. We've got everything prepped with paint. Got all new fuel lines ran. We are ready for a tank. Now, unfortunately, no one makes a tank for a 68 Bonneville, but Tanks Inc., which is actually a company from Iowa, as I recently discovered, makes a tank for a 68 Impala. The tank that was in this car was a 26.5 gallon. This one is a 24, I believe. It's a slightly different shape, but I think, hopefully, we can put this up in there and it should go in place. They're both B-bodies, so in theory, it should work. I don't know, it's gonna come down to bits of trim and stuff. Now, like I also mentioned before, these were sent to us by our buddies at Summit Racing. There's gonna be a link down in the description. Go ahead, head down there, click on that, show Summit Racing that you're listening when we're talking, and you too love Summit Racing parts. I'll tell you right now, if I ever had a Summit Racing built local to me, I would be immediately broke, and I would spend every waking moment of every day there, because it's just incredible. If you ever get a chance to go to a Summit store, by the way, it's awesome, especially the scratch and sniff section. Or, sorry, scratch and dent. Holy shit, that's a tank. You can already see this is going to be a little different. This is longer, but the tank is shorter and wide. I don't know. Either way, thank you once again, Summit Racing, for sending this. Let's see if it fits. Straps land somewhere good.
Kinda.
No. Damn it. Oh, I was never. No. God. Dude, don't fall out again. My straps reach. Actually, there's better access to the fuel section than the factory one did. Well, it turned out there were a couple differences. The sending unit I ordered for the tank does not have a return line. However, there is a vent way over there on that side, so I think I'll be able to use that to pump my return fuel in. But that does mean I will still need a vent. So I went to the old tank, stole the vent off the filler neck of the old tank. We're gonna go ahead and solder this sucker on here. If you ever need to solder a tank or a radiator, go down to O'Reilly's. They have the specific 4060 rosin core solder you need, along with the appropriate paste. And right next to those, they've got little brushes and a mini torch, all on the shelf. I believe they're on the bottom in that like tool aisle they have. But yeah, it's actually the only spot I could find this stuff for sale anywhere locally when I needed to do, I think it was the Grand National radiator repair a long time ago. Yeah, so Kevin's Solder Services, available at a disaster near you. All right, let's get this sucker in. Come on. Haha. Ow. Oh, son of a bitch. Ah! Somehow my finger wound up on the back of the bolt and ran it into the car. What the fuck? Ah! This fuel system is gonna kill me. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go get a new finger and a nut and finish this. Wow, this has just been a disaster today. I should have never came to work. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on the Bonneville once again. Yesterday, I got the fuel system in, as you saw. Got my ass absolutely kicked. Dropped a bunch of shit, hit my head on a bunch of things, smashed my finger with an impact, which is nice and purple today. And then to top it all off, throwing a box away at the end of the day off camera, I punched myself in the face. Regardless, we're back to give this another go, and there's been a bit of a change in our deadline for when this video is coming out. I got a couple extra days now, so I think I'm gonna do what I did here, which is wash and scrub the underside of the car and then paint it, because this came out excellent. Like, this looks great. I think I'm gonna do that to the rest of the underside of the car. If you remember from episode 1, we took a look. This thing is in fantastic shape. But if you recall, it was completely buried in the dirt and thusly is very dirty. So I'm gonna come in with a scrub brush and a garden hose, scrub everything down just like we did back there. I even got some Scotch-Brite pads, try to knock this rust off a little bit, and go ahead and rust reform and seal up the bottom of this car. Because looking at this and how well this came out, it doesn't really need to have the body taken off. I can just do that and preserve this thing. Like, that looks great. We just need all that to match. All right, so an hour of scrubbing later, I decided to see if that worked better, and it worked way better. Not only did that give me a better surface than sitting here scrubbing for 3 hours, but it was about 15 minutes and I was done. Here is the result. These floors are fantastic. Up here, I need to hit it with some degreaser in here a couple more times, because as you may recall, the transmission is disgusting in this car. The driveline is disgusting, so. Yes, soak it in. Soak it in. It's delicious, you love it. Degreaser. Man, you gotta love turbo cams. Well, there she is, folks. We've got the underside completely done with rust reformer. It took about 8 cans, I think. It took me a couple hours, but I went through and sprayed in every crack and every hole as much as I could, and just absolutely, completely undercoated the bottom of this car the best I can to help control that rust. And now I'm going through with just some normal flat protective enamel, taking the turbo can to hit the big areas, and then you grab some normal cans for the little spots and just get that second layer on it. Look at the appearance from behind. It looks so much better than that flaky rust that we had before. So I'm gonna finish this out and we'll move on to hooking the fuel system up and finally test driving this to see if it actually runs. All right, as you can see, our fuel system's all hooked up. Got a filter up front in front of all the lines, so if anything ever gets picked up, it gets caught right there. We got our vent tube hooked up back here. As you can see, the placement on that filler neck is actually pretty damn good. I'm really happy with that. I need to get a fuel cap for it yet. And I know I said we'll finally take it for a drive, but damn, if it isn't already up in the air and it doesn't already have the tires off, there is no better time to throw some wheel cylinders in it and a master cylinder than right now. So real quick, I'm gonna throw new wheel cylinders on all four corners, maybe change the rubber lines if they look like they need it, and throw a new master cylinder in, because despite this one working, I don't trust it at all. And I mean, this is a really nice car to wad up into a pole because of a $35 master cylinder and an hour of work that I didn't do. All right, let's see if we can do the world's fastest how-to on wheel cylinders. Step one, remove your drum. You might have to get a pry bar in there, walk it out, tap the drum a few times, blah, blah, blah. Once that's off, take a look in here. What you're looking for is moisture. We got a little bit of it here. This really isn't bad. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if these bled out and worked. Would I trust them to work for a long time? Probably not. I'm sure these are corroded as hell inside. We'll look here when we get her open. Let's just take a second, rinse some of this dirt and crap off. I like to put a tray on the ground to keep your floor from getting screwed up. You can get big drip pans at O'Reilly's now. So right away I can tell it looks like someone just put brakes on this car before it was put away. These look brand new. So step one, remove your springs. Take this guy off. Take this guy off, a little bit of muscle to get him off. Then go ahead and push down on the lever that runs the self-adjuster. Pop him out of the way. Get him out of the way. And push these off to the side. Just like that, you can pop these pins out and you're ready to change your wheel cylinder. Now that the easy part's done, I'm gonna go behind and pop the brake line off. If you're from the north like I am, good luck. It's probably gonna be rusted in place severely. Yeah, mine's not gonna turn. Sometimes it's best to go straight for the permanent pliers. Ideally, you can get this off without breaking the line, believe it or not. All right, vice grip was already rounding it off. Stage 2, heat. See if this gets her. I'm gonna warm this body up. Right, follow that up with a bit of your favorite penetrant. In my case, PB Blaster. And then a flat face vice grip. There we go, that's what we want. Now I've got the nut loose, but a lot of the times it will not let go of the line. The nut will twist the copper line, so I'm going to wiggle this back and forth a few times and try to get them to move independently, and then I can take the nut off. All right, looks like we got lucky. And this thing is cooperating. Once you get that loose, go ahead and pop that nut off. I know you guys can't see what I'm talking about right now, but when it comes time to do this, you can look back here and it's pretty obvious. There's one brake line running down the axle tube to the wheel cylinder, and it bolts in right here on the back. Make sure this is always on the top. By the way, this is your bleeder. Air needs to be able to go out. But like I said, I'm just working that nut loose, and then I will have two bolts here and here I need to remove as well. Go ahead and remove the two bolts on the back. Once those are out, strike your wheel cylinder with a hammer or get in here with a pry bar and pop this guy free. Ta-da! There we go. At this point, we'll grab our new wheel cylinder, put him in place, grab our bolts, go ahead and tighten down those two bolts. Yeah. Put our brake line nut back on, put our backing plate on right here. Now at this point, we can go ahead and put our little legs in for the wheel cylinder. Not a bad idea to hit some of this with anti-seize as you're putting it together, by the way. This is actually a really clean brake system, so I'm not too worried about it. I know it'll probably still function just fine. But if you do have a rustier system with older components and you're looking to save a buck and just do wheel cylinders, which is the safety aspect, I would still maybe take the shoes off, and there's 6 friction points behind these that you can clean up with a wire wheel. Throw some anti-seize on there, or some brake grease, whatever you want to use. We talk about that in other videos all the time, but today, like I said, these look so good, we're just throwing this all back together. I'm not worried about it at all. Pretty much brand new. Okay, those pins are in. I got my backing plate on. I'm going to press down on that adjuster lever once again, give me some play here. The spring goes right here. Loops around, put my safety glasses on. Grab my favorite screwdriver, which is missing for like 2 years now. Oh, come on, it was right there. Yay! And last but not least, now we'll get that collar in the right spot. Push that all back and do it again. Easy peasy, right? There we go. And there we go, we're reassembled. However, we're not done. There's one more thing we are going to do while we're in here, and that is open up these shoes. There we go. Gosh, okay. Hindsight. Take this off before you put these back on, but the last thing you want to do is take the adjuster off, take it over to your bench grinder and clean it up on the wire wheel so that it moves very freely, such as this one did to start with. So fill this with anti-seize. This is something that needs to stay lubricated at all times, and this is usually the first thing to fail besides the wheel cylinder. This is all falling apart now, so I got to get this spring back on and redo a few things. And once that's done, this will all be back together, but you guys get the point. All you got to do is take the top off, open it up, change that wheel cylinder, pull this guy out, clean him up, put him back, put everything back together, and you'll have a reliable, safe set of drums on the rears, or in our case, all 4 corners. So, oh, also, one thing I want to add, do 1 corner at a time. That way, if you have any questions of where these springs go, or which orientation or stack up they should be in, you can go look at the other side that hasn't been touched as a perfect reference. Assuming, of course, it was done right by the previous person. All right, let's get back to it. I got everything done on the rears, just opened up the fronts. These are a little more worn, but they're still 1/4 inch on there. I'm not too worried about it. The reason the camera is on right now is because I just discovered something pretty cool. I have a theory here. I believe with the right positioning. Woohoo! Don't put your fingers in there. Yeah. A 1. It would appear my theory is correct. You can change the wheel cylinders on the front without removing a damn thing except for the wheel cylinder. I will now proceed to unbolt that, replace the soft line back here as well because I got new ones, might as well. And throw a new one on there, clean everything up, clean the star wheel, call it good. That's badass. Well, it's been a little bit. I've got all new rubber hoses on the car, fixed a couple of spots that were a little rusty, such as that guy right there. Got a new line in there, same on that side. I had one break off. Our new wheel cylinders are on front and rear. The rears are all ready to go. I'm cleaning up the bearings right now. And I just tried something that, in hindsight, painfully obvious. I don't know why I never did this. But instead of using an expensive gallon of degreaser, I got a little bit of gas in a cup, threw those bearings in, and in like 2 minutes of swishing them around, that's what came out. I don't know why I've never done this. This is the cleanest bearing I've ever seen for me not picking any grease out of them. Like, they're perfectly empty. You can hear that little chatter means there's no grease in there at all. So those are completely ready to go. I'll get those greased up, throw them in here with our new wheel seal, and then we'll be ready to put the brakes back on this car. All right, well there you go. Now that the brakes have been completely redone, everything from the master cylinder to the wheel cylinders themselves, we've pressure washed, cleaned, and sealed up the bottom of the car and installed a new fuel tank and all new fuel system. We can finally throw some gas in this, fire it up, and see if our carburetor fix worked. And once we get her fired up, hopefully we can take her out for a little cruise so we can get those number 2 piston rings to come back to life, kind of free up, snap back into their place in the cylinder and build compression, and pick up all 8 cylinders once again. Well, I didn't have the camera rolling because I didn't think it would work that quick, but in literally 2 or 3 seconds, we primed with fuel and then filled up this cup all the way. It looks nice and clean, no more crap coming out of the lines, so let's get that hooked up and see if she runs. All right, here we go. Imagine it'll take a couple seconds to fill the bowl. Oh, something tells me I didn't hook the throttle back up. I was like, wow, it's really just not responding. Yeah, that'll probably help. There we go. That is 1,000 times happier. Hell yes. All right, let let me do one last inspection of the engine bay. I gotta look to see if I have a vacuum line on the Advance. I don't think I do. That'll also help a lot. Once that's done, I'll take this for a drive finally. All right, here we go. Time for a test drive. Got the vacuum Advance hooked up. Everything's good under the hood. We're ready to roll. Things we're looking for on this drive. Do the brakes work? Does the car run better? And does the car shift out of first gear this time? All of these are a big question mark, and we're gonna find them out as we go. And the only way to do that is to go. So let's go. Sounds a lot happier now. Ugh. All right, well, the brakes work. That's thing number one checked. Power steering works. Oh, that was another thing I forgot I fixed. Sweet. Slip her down into gear. Oh, everything immediately fogged up. It's so hot out. Huh. Okay, so it didn't go. It's acting kind of flooded. It's kind of acting like it's just pumping the shit out of fuel. It's big time flooding out. Alright, there's drive. We got brakes. They feel funny, but I got them. Well, it died again. Okay, that's fine. Let's get it out on the road at least. Gotta hold it wide open. Alright. That's a really slippery first gear. Second, back switch. Oh, f***ing hell. The brakes work now for some reason. Whoa, Jesus. Okay, what is going on? The brakes are 100% or nothing. The trans seems very unhappy. This is arguably worse than it was before. How does that even happen? Oh, okay, the brakes don't work very good when they're not boosted, but they work arguably too well when they are boosted. I think I heard it shift in the second and then try for third and kind of float. The brakes are super jumpy. The car runs like shit. Power steering works great. We fixed the power steering by installing a belt and filling it with fluid. Beyond that, kind of exactly where we were, but now with more money and paint on the bottom of the car. Let's put that Holly on it. I know I can make that run right. Off with the Quadrajet. On with the Holly. Yeah, done. Just kidding. It's going to take me a little bit to configure everything to fit that carburetor. Having changed over from this one. Unfortunately, this was one of the front feed Quadrajets instead of a side, so I got to do a little adaptation there. Switch some stuff around for other things, get a throttle hooked up, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that sucker's been all regasketed, new power valve, new everything that I had here that I could change. Looks really clean inside, looks really good, so let's get her bolted down and see what she does. Alrighty, there it is. Our Holly factory position Quadrajet replacement 3000 McGee is all bolted up. Let's hit it with a little fuel from the pump here by cranking it over and see how she runs. I did not see the fuel. Not entirely uncommon for floats to stick after the rebuild. seems much happier up high. Well, either she's obviously flooding out, way too lean, or has no initial timing in it. Interesting. More fuel did not solve anything. We're either getting absolutely nothing from our idle circuit, or we're dumping fuel in somewhere, and I'm only able to run when I substitute that with a bunch of air. Let's test that theory. I closed our adjustment screws all the way down, see if it tries to idle now. When I give it no fuel on the idle circuit, it idles. It means it's getting fuel in the motor somewhere else by itself. I don't see anything up here. That's a low light. Yeah, pretty healthy. That's a big vacuum leak. I didn't expect it to survive me putting that back on. Uh-oh. I got a water leak down by the crank. Weight pull on the water pump. Water pump just took a shit. You know what? I think this is running good enough that we can try to make a lap around the block. Let's do it again. At this point, this thing is still on the edge of it being worth my time pulling the motor and trans, redoing them both, painting everything in here and sticking it back together. It's kind of the only spot on the car that's still ugly, along with the fact that there's a lot of valve noise, a good bit of blow by, still down a cylinder, and I don't know if we have a transmission that works. It's been acting really, really weird the whole time. And it's full on fluid, I checked. Either way, this finally runs good enough that I think we can successfully try to make it around the block again, so let's do that. It's still not right, but it's close enough. Oh, look at that, it's got a little empty fuel light. That's badass. Drive is being so weird. Second feels a lot better actually. If I shift down into S, Jesus Christ, the brakes. I should try it for third. What that surging is, I've never heard that before. Okay, try not to go through the windshield. Oh my god, it's like pulling the brake pedal away from my foot at night. Holy Jesus, this car is cursed. Now it's acting like it's flooding out again. What is this thing's deal with that? Slippery first gear. Just shift, you son of a bitch. Oh, good. What the hell? What is up with his brakes? Okay. No. You were a mess. You were a mess to drive. Well, once again, we've put in a whole nother day of work, changed carburetors, and we have the same problem. It runs like ass, it's still got a dead cylinder, the brakes are super weird, and it doesn't shift into any gears or really have a good transmission at all. So, yeah. Honestly, once again, kind of right where we started. At this point, I'm going to go home and take a shower, think about this a bunch, and then we will be back tomorrow for one last try before I'm out of time and I have to start editing this video. No matter what I do, this car will not get off the fence. It sits right on the line of just as much work to finish it as it is, or just a little bit more work and redo everything and have a cool performance-oriented Bonneville, which is new engine trans, make them spicy, throw QA1 suspension on it, maybe a 4.9-inch, just do it up and make it badass. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that what I should do? It kind of seems like the car wants me to take that route and pull the driveline, redo that, clean up the entire engine bay, air conditioning, suspension, all the goodies, and just have the most bitchin' Bonneville ever. All right, we'll be back in the morning. Yeah, that's it. I'm calling him. Hi, yes, is this Butler Performance? So, last night I went home, sat down on the computer, had a little internal dilemma, did a little Googling, a little research, and I've decided I think we're changing directions with this car. We're gonna move away from the cheap revival, which we would have achieved at this point if the motor trans. I mean, 111,000 miles in 7 years. This car's got miles on it. The driveline's worn out. The only thing left to do as far as like cleaning up any part of the car, like I mentioned, is the engine bay and the driveline, and then give it a buff, and we've got pretty much a fully redone car. This one's been very easy to work on and forgiving in that manner. However, as you've seen in the entire video and every other manner, it's physically kicked the shit out of me, and mentally as well, seeing that I keep fixing the same things and just don't actually fix anything the whole time, apparently. So what I think we're gonna do is change directions, go from a cheap revival to the most badass four-door that I can build. With that being said, I need to spend the rest of the day on the phone. Thank you guys very much for watching this episode. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think we should do to this car? Personally, I'm thinking, I don't know, 461 stroker kit, maybe an Edelbrock top end, but we'll see. Again, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry we did not have an awesome climactic finish, but there's really no point in me putting more time into it at this point since it's all coming back apart, potentially anyway. With that being said, I suppose I can reach up front and crank that key one last time so you guys can go out on a good note, an exhaust note. We'll see you right here next week for another episode of Junkyard Digs, where we dig back into maybe finish the damn satellite, maybe work on this again. I have no idea. You'll have to tune in to find out. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Check out our merch, junkyarddigs.com. We got new stuff coming out all the time. We'll see you right here next week for another episode. Peace. You finicky, finicky car.